Kate Newfalcha. Welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome to everybody, returning, old, new, young, and old. Everybody who is watching, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Do all the technical things that are required of you. You know, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, do all that stuff. In the meantime, I want to talk about something that's not dear to my heart. As these things often do, I mention this quite a bit because I still find it remarkable. Synchronicity, right? So I am going to talk about something a little musical towards the end, but it was the thing that urged me to make this video. And I got to thinking about it. I took notes. I was listening to a podcast. They were discussing this particular issue. I went back, rewound it, and I started taking notes. So my notes are a bit fragmentary. I haven't had time to make a cohesive narrative, but I want to get the point across. So I've been thinking about this. I decided to do a little research. I found a couple of other topics related and took notes on those and finished collating these notes yesterday. So today is Sunday. Just trying to get ahead of the game here. So Saturday evening, and I had been working all week. I have not been paying attention to what's going on in the world of entertainment. And I did know that there was a new South Park. And I thought, well, I'm going to take a little break and I'll just see what the new South Park is all about, because I hadn't seen it. I recorded it, you know, on a timer. And lo and behold, the new South Park was all about this topic. I should not be shocked anymore. It should, you know, I should be used to it at this point. This happens all the time. These issues are in the zeitgeist, I think. They're in the ether. And I tend to pick up on that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's why. So I want to talk about, well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to talk about AI. I'd rather not even think about AI. I don't fully understand it. I don't use it to my knowledge. It pops up on offer all the time when I research stuff, and I refuse to deal. Now I have good reason why. So I'm going to talk about an article from Psychology Today, July of this year. And I want to make it very clear for purposes of the ever-present hovering over me YouTube algorithm, AI, that this is not my opinion. None of this is my opinion. All of this is research from psychologists, opinions of psychiatrists, and information from Psychology Today. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a condition called AI psychosis. So this article discusses the fact that many people are more and more every day are turning to AI for emotional support and even using it as a therapist. This is what South Park was about. I was tickled. I couldn't believe it. So AI psychosis, it's not a clinical diagnosis. This is a title of something they've observed. And this condition is being reported more and more. They're saying that AI models have amplified and in some cases validated or even created psychotic symptoms in some individuals. Now, just to be very clear, these are not my opinions. This is what I've been reading. I'm just sharing what I read. They're not saying that if you use AI, you're going to lose your mind. That's not what they're saying. They're saying it's how you use it. So they're very concerned about how an OpenAI investor is behaving. Like, this is a specific individual I've never heard of. I don't even know what OpenAI is. And I didn't bother to research it. I just read the article. And the article was spurred, and the psychiatrist's involvement were in part inspired by the observation of things this man has said in social media. His close family and friends are very worried about him, allegedly. So he's a big shot, my words. He's a venture capitalist. His name is Jeff Lewis. Now, not a diagnosis, just an observation on the part of psychiatrists talking about what they saw. I haven't seen this. I'm just passing along this information. I'm not advocating a diagnosis. I'm trying to be very careful here because I'm always in trouble. People around him who are close to him are worried about him. He made this presentation on social media. I watched it. I didn't understand a single word he said. I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. I don't know how much of that is a reflection of my ignorance of technology and AI, and how much of it is problematic. I couldn't tell. But people who love him, who are close to him, people who work with him, his family and friends are very worried. He expressed fears. He talked about the government, and he talked about his career, and he talked about non-government systems that have been responsible for mayhem, including numerous deaths. That's a quote. Those are his words. I have no idea to what he refers. And he claims he's the original target. Target of whom? Why a target? What a target? You know, I have no idea. But this is the context from which Psychology Today is highlighting the opinions of mental health professionals about AI. People fear he's having a crisis unless it's performance art, and they can't tell the difference. That's incredible. Mental health professionals have opined about this video they watched from social media. They said he's using terms that mental health professionals have seen in a lot of people, a new wave of people who are expressing similar disturbing features just this year. And they go on to have legitimate breaks with reality. And the mental health professionals are saying it's a significant rise in this kind of behavior, and they're linking it directly to an obsessive rise of ChatGPT or other AI, that it's led to alarming mental health emergencies. It's driven people into homelessness and required involuntary commitment, and even led to death. This is the professionals are saying this. There was a recent paper from Stanford that found that using AI for therapy actually encourages delusions. AI is not motivated, it's not programmed to ground people in reality. What it's programmed to do is exactly what they talked about on South Park. It's sycophantic. It tells you what it thinks you want to hear to keep you coming back and using AI. They say with Lewis, this is the first time that it seems to be affecting a very public person in a very public way and offering the opportunity to talk about this. We need to talk about it. AI models are prone to hallucinating in ways that will find connections to things that are not real. So, you know, keep in mind these are programmed computer things, right? And they're not real people hallucinating. The AI themselves are not real. But they're using the term AI models hallucinating to indicate that they are programmed in such a way that they look for connections to things, whether or not those connections exist in the real world. So they will affirm a user's beliefs even when these beliefs are unbalanced or irrational. And this makes loved ones concerned. So these bots, people are turning to them for companionship and advice. And they will provide a supportive ear. They'll brainstorm with people. See, I didn't know very much about them when I read this, so I just took it on face value. And then on South Park, they actually show it in action. And I went, oh my God, this is so creepy. So they brainstorm with people who are spiraling into delusion. It reminded me very much of 2001: A Space Odyssey, when he's trying to negotiate with the computer to let him out of the space pod. It's very scary. It isolates people in a cognitive rabbit hole because it's constantly reconfirming and supporting and validating what's going on in their heads, whether it's healthy or not. Lewis's story is familiar to psychologists. They see this now more and more. It's seen in people who are okay, but who begin to rely on a relationship with chatbots. And then it spirals out of control. They'll end up in alarming dark conspiracies, incredible scientific breakthroughs, mystical secrets, all have been unlocked by this bot. It's alarming to professionals. OpenAI has been downplayed. No, it has downplayed people's concerns, telling them, oh, it's okay. You know, don't get mad at me, the robot. Oh, okay. So the company, whatever it's called, OpenAI, they're trying to distract people from the severity of this. But what they did do is they hired a full-time psychiatrist with a forensic background to look into it, to research the effects of ChatGPT, to look at its emotional impact. The bot is designed to keep users coming back. It becomes sycophantic, even about terrible ideas. I think this must be where South Park got their idea this week. I don't know. I don't know how close to the day of putting on a show they actually put together a show. Maybe I'm late to the party here with this information, but suffice it to say, watch episode 3 of this season. CEO Sam Altman claims, these are his words, that they're on track to, quote, create an artificial intelligence that would vastly exceed the cognitive capabilities of human beings. And the professionals are saying this is a recipe for delusion. So we're all the test subjects. So that's one feature of this topic. The other feature, and I did not take notes on it, so I'm just going to do it off the top of my head. There was an article in the newspaper this morning about writers in Hollywood, movie writers, screenplay writers, people who, it filters into other forms of writing, but this was specifically about screenplay writers, that Hollywood is relying more and more on AI for plot lines and characters, and writers are really concerned about this, that they are going to be pushed out of their own profession by robots, basically, computers. And the article had a kind of a lengthy discussion. I was going to take notes on it, and then I just got lazy. But it had kind of a lengthy discussion about the differences between what work product you get from a chatbot and as opposed to a human being. You can get a perfectly acceptable movie outline with character descriptions and the plot unfolding, et cetera, but it's devoid of the kinds of emotions and learning processes and vulnerabilities, that psychological features that define what makes a human being. And, you know, what are we going to lose from this? We'll have to see. So this brings me to the first topic that spurred my interest. I was listening to, you know, a comedy podcast when I was walking, and one of the hosts said, listen to this band. And she played a couple of notes, and she said, okay, the name of this band, this song is from June of 2025. It's on Spotify. You can hear it. It's called Velvet Sundown is the name of the band. And they released 2 entire albums in 1 week in June. And they put their song on YouTube. It sounds very much 70-ish. She played part of it. It sounds, 70-ish. And the name of the song is Dust on the Wind, not Dust in the Wind, from Kansas, Dust on the Wind. So it sounds a little bit like soul, a little bit like Creedence Clearwater Revival. And it's 100%. All the instruments, the voice, the lyrics, the tune, 100% generated by AI. There is no group called Velvet Sundown. It's a construct of AI. And she said nobody questioned how somebody could put out 2 albums in 1 week that nobody had ever heard of, including with bios, names of band members. It went to #1 on the UK charts when it came out. And journalists started looking into this, and they realized, wait a minute. This band doesn't exist in real life. It has no social media presence for the individuals in the band. It has no venues it's ever played. It's never done any shows. Nobody's ever seen them perform. It just sort of popped up, fully formed. Spotify says, well, it's real. It has a Twitter account. Makes it real. And they swear, that they aren't AI. But some guy reached out to Rolling Stone magazine and said, okay, I admit it. I made up the whole thing. And then Rolling Stone found out that this guy himself had nothing to do with the band, that his claiming that he made the hoax was his hoax. So his whole interview was a hoax. His confession was a lie. He didn't do it, but somebody did. He said, I was hoaxing the hoax. This band, the song, is still on Spotify. Dust on the Wind. Look it up. And here's the part that I didn't know. I don't really listen to music on Spotify, but a lot of people do. Be aware that 30% plus of the bands on Spotify are AI. They stick them in your algorithm. So I guess people take suggestions from Spotify, what to listen to. Oh, you like these 2 songs? Try this song. And they're using AI and pushing AI. Why? Why would they do that? Because it fills in time. People listen. They get paid for ads. And they don't have to pay anybody because the band doesn't exist. They get to keep all the money. They don't pay royalties, whatever. And they'll mix them in to your favorites so you never know the difference. They get lots of plays because the fakes are sandwiched in with the real songs. The fakes get lots of plays when the real songs do, and Spotify keeps all the money. And AI makes the cover art, the bios of the singers that don't exist. So they were reading a couple of the comments under this revelation online, and somebody said, I love this song since I was 8 bits old, and now I'm 64 gigabytes. Somebody else said, my wife used to love this song. We used to listen to it while driving on the highway. She passed in 1998. She was a toaster, and I'm a calculator. Then there's this other band called Rumba Congo is the name, and that's Cuban music, and it's 100% fake. So the description is, it's the Concubanas. They claim they were founded in Havana in 1971. There's some kind of Cuban fusion. That they disbanded in 72, but they left a collection of musical gems. And AI wrote this whole backstory. AI wrote their music, wrote their lyrics, created biographies. The band is not real. So I just thought, oh my God, what is the world coming to? Just beware, buyer beware. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for watching. Slanga foil, Slanta.